everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Dallas Road Trip, where we are exploring Dallas Catholic history in our own backyard. I can hardly believe it, but we have finally arrived at our last landmark, St. Anne Community in Dallas. If you've attended a game at the American Airlines Stadium, you've probably spent some time in what is now known as the Harwood District. Marked by its signature Harwood Bulls, the area was once almost entirely populated by hundreds of Mexican Catholics who had come to Dallas seeking refuge from the Mexican Revolution. The neighborhood, or Barrio, was appropriately and affectionately named Little Mexico. A corner of the Barrio still stands in tribute to St. Anne. After initial assistance, the Barrio grew to be very independent. The Barrio existed as a city unto itself, with schools, restaurants, apartments, theaters, churches, parks, and grocery stores. Leonor Villarreal speaks of her memories in the Barrio fondly. She grew up at St. Anne's Community. She speaks of the people there, her family and her friends, as proud people. It was always important to them that their clothes were cleaned and washed and pressed, and their streets were kept free from dust. One of Leonor's favorite parts about life in the Barrio was her church community at Our Lady of Guadalupe, a mission church that was established for refugees in 1914, and the accompanying schools of St. Anne's that were established in the 1920s. Church in the Barrio was at the center of life, and at that time in Dallas City, the only other Catholic church was the then called Sacred Heart Cathedral. Built in 1869, the cathedral at 2215 Ross Avenue had been historically a place where Mexicans were not welcome. From the first through the fourth decades of the 20th century, they were not even allowed to enter the church, let alone worship there. And then by mid-century, they were relegated to pews at the back of the church. One woman shares her story. One day, I had to go to the cathedral because I was too late to go to Our Lady of Guadalupe. I was seen by an usher, asked to leave, and to go to my church. But at Our Lady of Guadalupe, there were no bounds. If you were of Mexican descent, you came, and often on foot. The associated schools of St. Anne were called St. Anne after Anne Kilgallen, a generous donor from Chicago who made the building of the schools possible. Parish life there was enforced the strong bonds of community. There was rosary every night, enchiladas from the Guadalupanas on Sundays, and a great celebration for the novena to Our Lady of Guadalupe. Tragically, there's not much left of the St. Anne community. In 1965, Our Lady of Guadalupe was merged with the cathedral, hence the new name, and St. Anne's Commercial High School was shut down, shortly followed by St. Anne's Elementary School in 1974. Today, what is left can be found in St. Anne Court, part of the Harwood International Development. St. Anne Restaurant is actually located in St. Anne's Elementary School building, which has since become a Dallas landmark. Leonor and her community speak very highly of Harwood International and the way that they have shown respect towards their community and its history. In the courtyard of St. Anne's, you can see a tiled mosaic of Our Lady of Guadalupe that was repaired, restored, and preserved by Harwood International, and it used to be on the wall of the auditorium in the high school. Furthermore, Harwood International takes out the community of St. Anne to St. Anne Restaurant to eat and to get to tell stories about their community. Leonor and her peers, the alumni of St. Anne, work hard to tell and preserve the story of St. Anne. Until COVID, they had been at the Texas State Fair for 19 consecutive years with a pictorial exhibit display of Little Mexico, which covers the area of Our Lady of Guadalupe and St. Anne. We began our road trip remembering the first Dallas Catholics who didn't even have buildings in which to worship, and we conclude our Dallas road trip remembering the Dallas Catholics who weren't able to worship in the buildings that we did have. Moving forward, you have a role to play in the next chapter in our diocese. Let's make this a diocese where people of all backgrounds are able to worship in our churches. This is a church that you can make possible. This is a church to which you can be proud. This is the church of which you belong. Thank you so much for joining us on our Dallas road trip, where we are exploring the adventure of our Dallas Catholic history in our own backyard.